Johnny Carson guests who were too honest on live TV are remembered because when Johnny Carson asked a question on The Tonight Show, most celebrities stuck to the script, offering charming anecdotes, practice jokes, and shameless movie plugs, but not everyone played by Hollywood's rules. Some guests threw caution to the wind and decided brutal honesty was the best policy, even when millions were watching, and the results were pure television gold that left Carson speechless, network executives panicking, and America completely riveted. From 1962 to 1992, The Tonight Show was America's nightly ritual, and before internet confessionals and tell-all podcasts, Carson's desk was where the nation gathered to see celebrities at their most personable. While most stars arrived with carefully rehearsed stories, a rare few used their 15 minutes with Johnny to deliver uncomfortable truths that still resonate decades later. What made these moments so powerful was not just what was said, but the raw authenticity behind the words, because in an era of carefully controlled celebrity images, these 6 guests revealed something real. Whether America was ready for it or not, their candor created some of television's most unforgettable moments, and in some cases changed the cultural conversation forever. What makes a Carson interview truly shocking is when the carefully maintained illusion of Hollywood perfection cracks wide open, revealing the messy, complicated humans behind the glamorous facades, and nobody did this better than the first brutally honest guest. Admired as one of the most indestructible actresses of all time, with 2 Oscars, 10 nominations, numerous awards, and international honors, including France's Legion of Honor and the César Award, Bette Davis appeared on the show in 1983 with no intention of delivering the usual talk show pleasantries. At 75 years old, with decades of industry battles behind her, she had nothing to lose and everything to say about Hollywood's treatment of women, especially aging ones. She told Carson bluntly that getting old in Hollywood meant you might as well be dead, especially if you were a woman, and the nervous laughter from the audience could not mask the uncomfortable truth she was serving. Carson, usually quick with a comeback, seemed momentarily frozen because this was not the light conversation he was expecting. Davis continued that Hollywood worshipped youth and beauty as if it were an achievement and explained that she had fought for every decent role since turning 40, while men were allowed to become distinguished as women were labeled past their prime. What made the moment riveting was not just what she said, but how she said it, without self-pity and with a matter-of-fact disgust at an industry she had helped build but which no longer valued aging women. She made it clear she was not fighting for herself, because her legacy was secure, but for every actress who would come after her. When Carson suggested that things had improved, Davis responded with a devastating comparison, saying improvement was like claiming the Titanic improved because more lifeboats were added after it sank. She spoke about lost roles, double standards, and a studio system that both made and tried to break her, offering a systemic indictment of Hollywood sexism and ageism long before those conversations became mainstream. Her honesty was remarkable for its timing, because in 1983 few people spoke publicly about these issues, and her willingness to use her platform for uncomfortable truths rather than promotion defined her integrity. If that seemed unfiltered, Richard Pryor took honesty even further. His 1980 appearance came shortly after his near-fatal accident when he set himself on fire while freebasing cocaine, and instead of delivering a sanitized version of events, he abandoned the script entirely and turned the interview into something closer to a therapy session. He calmly explained that he was not trying to kill himself, only trying to get so high he could touch God's face, and instead nearly met him in person. The audience, expecting comedy, witnessed a brutally honest confession about addiction as Pryor explained that cocaine was suicide on an installment plan. When Carson tried to steer the conversation toward lighter topics and upcoming projects, Pryor refused, speaking openly about racism in America and in Hollywood, explaining that success, money, and fame did not fix what was broken inside him. He explained the pain of being black in America, of having everything yet still being treated as if he did not belong, and admitted he was done pretending. What made the interview revolutionary was its raw vulnerability from a black male celebrity in 1980, openly discussing addiction, mental health, and racism without concern for career consequences. Despite concerns from the network, the interview aired largely intact, becoming a moment that transcended entertainment and forced America to listen. Shelley Winters followed with revelations that shocked audiences in 1975 when she appeared to discuss her memoir and instead exposed Hollywood's seedy underbelly. Midway through the interview, she reached into her oversized purse and pulled out a worn bikini, explaining it was what she wore when she screen-tested with Ronald Reagan in 1949. Before Carson could redirect the conversation, she launched into a detailed account of the casting couch culture of early Hollywood, describing how producers propositioned young actresses and how roles were often exchanged for sexual favors. She named powerful executives, described special casting couches, and explained that aspiring actresses were expected to provide more than talent. Winters stated she was lucky to be stubborn enough to say no and still have a career, while many women were not so fortunate. As Carson nervously warned about dangerous territory, she challenged him by asking dangerous for whom, insisting these men were predators in expensive suits, and everyone had looked the other way for too long. What made her candor shocking was that such accusations were unheard of at the time, decades before similar movements entered public conversation. With nothing left to lose, she spoke truths others could not, even pulling out a list of names that nearly caused Carson to leap from his chair. Oliver Reed brought a different kind of discomfort in 1987 when he arrived visibly intoxicated and launched into a drunken rant against Hollywood. Ignoring attempts to discuss his latest film, he slurred criticisms about cowardly executives, garbage films made by accountants, and directors who sold out their vision. As his belligerence increased, he named names, criticized modern filmmaking, and claimed honesty only existed when people were drunk. Despite the chaos and embarrassment, there was a kernel of truth in his words about Hollywood commercialism. The interview ended abruptly. Reed was escorted off stage, and he was never invited back, but the moment became legendary for how completely the polite veneer of celebrity interviews collapsed. Burt Reynolds shocked audiences in 1976 not with anger, but with cheerful honesty when he admitted he disliked certain co-stars and directors. Known for his charm and likability, Reynolds surprised viewers by saying some people he smiled with in photos were people he would like to punch. While avoiding exact names, he offered descriptions specific enough for insiders to identify, criticizing entitled co-stars and pretentious directors.